It was supposed to be the perfect night. At least that's what I told myself as I stood in front of the mirror, fixing the last few strands of my hair, adjusting my outfit for what was supposed to be a celebration. A moment for us to finally reconnect after weeks of arguments, silence, and distance. It had been months of tension between us, but tonight I was determined to make it right. Tonight, everything would be different. I had told myself that the surprise dinner reservation was the right idea. Intimate, cozy, the kind of evening that would remind us of the love we once shared. I imagined it would be the beginning of something new, a fresh start to bring us back to where we had been when everything felt easy, when we were two people who were in love with the simple act of being together. As I applied the final touches to my makeup, I tried to push away the nagging doubt that had been lingering for days. The quiet arguments had escalated into something deeper, something colder. We hadn't been communicating in weeks, and I couldn't shake the feeling that there was something off. But tonight, I told myself, tonight would fix it all. It had to. We could make it work. We could be happy again. I walked out of the bathroom, checking the time. He would be home any minute now, and I was nervous. Nervous in that way you get when you're about to have a difficult conversation, when you're about to confront something that's been left unsaid for far too long. And then the door opened. It was him. I saw him standing in the doorway, wearing the same tired look on his face that had become so familiar to me in recent weeks. But this time, I didn't want to focus on the exhaustion in his eyes. I didn't want to focus on the distance I had felt between us. Tonight, I was going to make it all better. Hey, I said, forcing a smile as I stepped closer to him. I've got everything ready. The table's set. Dinner's waiting. He didn't respond at first. Instead, he just stood there, his eyes fixed on me but not really seeing me. It felt like there was a wall between us, a wall that had been building over time, stone by stone, until it felt impossible to break through. I reached out to touch his arm, hoping to break the silence, but he pulled back. "Listen, I need to talk to you," he said, his voice sounding distant. "It's important." The words sent a shock through me, but I tried to stay calm. "Okay," I said, my voice trembling slightly. "What is it?" I've been thinking about us," he said, and I could hear the hesitation in his voice. "About everything. About where we are and where we're going." I swallowed hard, trying to keep my composure. "What do you mean?" I asked, suddenly feeling the weight of his words in a way I hadn't expected. My chest tightened, and I could feel the knot forming in my stomach. The doubt, the anxiety I had been pushing away, surged to the surface. "I can't keep doing this anymore," he said, his words cutting through the air like a knife. "I think we both know it's over." The world stopped. Time seemed to slow down, and all I could do was stare at him, my heart pounding in my chest. His words didn't make sense. I couldn't understand them. "What?" I finally managed to say, my voice barely above a whisper. "You heard me," he replied, his voice quieter now, almost apologetic. "I've been seeing someone else." The floor beneath me seemed to fall away. His words were like a cold slap across my face, and everything I had imagined for tonight, the hopes, the plans, the dreams of reconciliation, shattered in an instant. I felt my breath catch in my throat as the room seemed to spin around me. "No," I whispered, shaking my head. "No, you're lying. This isn't happening." But the look on his face said it all. There was no hesitation in his eyes now, no guilt. It was like he had made his decision, and he was just waiting for me to accept it. I could see it in his eyes. The coldness that had started to seep in weeks ago, the distance that had once felt so small but had grown into something vast and impassable. The truth hit me harder than anything else could. He was already gone. and I hadn't even seen it happen. "I'm sorry," he said, his voice cracking. "I didn't want to hurt you. I never meant for it to be like this. But I fell in love with someone else." The words felt like a punch to the gut. I wanted to scream, to ask him how he could do this to me after everything we had been through. How could he betray me like this? How could he stand here and tell me he loved someone else? But the words wouldn't come. I was paralyzed by the weight of his confession. My mind raced, trying to piece together the moments that had led up to this, the signs I had ignored, the quiet shifts that had occurred when I wasn't paying attention. All the times he had come home late, all the times I had brushed it off as just stress from work or the busyness of life. I had been so blind, so consumed by the idea of fixing things, of making it work, that I hadn't even realized the truth was staring me in the face. "I don't know what else to say," he continued. "I've already made up my mind. It's over." And just like that, everything I thought I knew about love, about us, crumbled to dust. There was no coming back from this, no way to fix it. My entire world, the future I had envisioned for us, was falling apart in front of me. And all I could do was stand there, numb and speechless. I could feel the tears welling up in my eyes, but I refused to let them fall. I was too angry to cry. Too angry to let him see the hurt he had caused. The betrayal stung in a way I couldn't describe. And yet, all I could do was nod, silently acknowledging what had already been said. I turned away from him, my back facing him, trying to compose myself. My thoughts were racing, my heart aching with the weight of his betrayal. How long had this been going on? How long had he been hiding this from me, living this lie while I was blind to it? "I don't know what you want from me," I said, my voice shaking with emotion. "You've already made your choice. There's nothing left to say." "I'm sorry," he repeated, his voice softer now, like he was trying to convince both of us that this was the right thing to do. But his apology meant nothing now. Nothing could make up for the pain he had caused, for the trust he had shattered in an instant. "I think you should leave," I said, the words bitter on my tongue. "Just go." He didn't argue. He just stood there for a moment, his gaze lingering on me, before he turned and left, walking out the door, leaving me standing there, alone. The door shut behind him with a finality that felt like a weight on my chest. I sank to the floor, my body trembling with a mix of anger, betrayal, and heartbreak. The dinner I had planned, the hopeful thoughts I had harbored for weeks, everything was gone in a flash. Nothing made sense anymore. How could he have done this to me? How could he have thrown everything away like it was nothing? I sat there in the silence, letting the reality of what had just happened sink in. I was alone, and there was nothing left. All the dreams I had for our future, for the life we had built together, had been shattered. And all I had now were the unspoken words, the things I should have said, the things I had ignored. I had trusted him, and he had betrayed that trust in the worst possible way. The betrayal wasn't just about him loving someone else. It was about everything that had led to this moment. The lies, the silence, the things we never talked about. It was about the years we had spent pretending everything was fine, when, in reality, we were both so lost. As the days passed, I replayed the conversation over and over in my mind, unable to escape the crushing weight of what had happened. I kept asking myself the same questions. Was it my fault? Was there something I had missed? Had I been so consumed by my own desires to fix everything that I hadn't seen the cracks in our relationship? In the end, it didn't matter. What mattered was that I had been betrayed, and that the person I had trusted the most had broken that trust in a way I couldn't even begin to comprehend. I don't know what comes next. I don't know how I move on from this, but I know one thing for sure. I'll never forget the betrayal. The unspoken words, the lies, and the pain of knowing that someone I had loved had taken everything I had given them and thrown it all away.